Robert Rivas Radio.
Up top again. Sweet girl, shake it for me.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And at this time, I'd like to introduce David Marez to my morning show. Welcome, David, to Robert Rivas Radio.
Hey, thank you so much, Robert. How you doing? And welcome all the fans that are listening to us. And we're on your mobile unit right now.
There you go. David, I got to tell you, man, I'm a big fan of yours, dude. I remember back in the day, back in the T-Town days, and I'll keep it there for right now, man, when you used to perform at T-Town. Pero también, man, you were a fan of T-Town. You used to hang out there, drink your beers, kick back and relax. And it's nice to see that some Tejano artists weren't going there just to perform, but they were there to support other artists.
Oh, most definitely. T-Town was one of my favorite spaces when it opened up. It was, a place where we used to go and just, get together with friends and have some drinks, and we knew the people from the club and all that. So, yeah, it was very, very good times.
There you go. Now, David, you've got some musical history that's simply unreal. You really, really do, man. We're talking from the Royal Jesters to People, David Marez and People, and then, of course, a lot of your solo projects. But, David, before we go there, let's go back to the beginning, man. You were born and raised in Marez, Texas, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
There we go, Marez, Texas. Now, when did you make the move to San Antonio? What made you make the move to San Antonio?
Well, I came every year to stay with my grandparents and my tios and tias. We had a lot of relatives here in San Antonio. And then during the school year, I'd have to go back to Marez, right, and go to school and all that. And, eventually got to the point where I told my parents I really wanted to just stay in San Antonio. I didn't want to go back to Marez, right?
Sure.
And I had a lot of friends here, too. So they finally relented, and they gave me the permission to come stay up here with my aunts and with my grandparents. And I started going to school here, and I made a lot of my friends. Oddly enough, I made a lot of my present musician friends then.
There you go. Now, David, when did you kind of like snap, blink, or just say, you know what, I want to be a musician, I want to be a singer? Where did this come about?
Well, actually, I've been, since I can remember, I've been singing all my life. My mother said when I was a baby in the crib, she said I would be humming, trying to mimic the radio, which I told her, come on. She said, no, really, she did. So, and being a Pentecostal, well, we all sing in the church. So we would all have to sing, me and my brothers would all have to sing in the church, harmonies with my parents, right? And my father's brother was a minister, so we would all be part of the choir, and that's really where I started singing, and I really enjoyed singing.
Wow. Isn't that something? Yeah. Now, you come to San Antonio. Now, how did you tie in with the Royal Jesters? How did this come about?
Well, I came to San Antonio, and I was a big sports freak, so I was playing sports at the schools, right, and all this. And friends of mine were playing bands, right, and I liked it, but I just didn't, my father wouldn't let me do that, right? So then finally he let me, some of my friends, he knew them, so he said, well, they're nice guys, yeah, I'll let you go with them, right? So we started doing like little, fellow students were having a birthday party, the girls, so we'd go play for them, and stuff like that. And it evolved into the Eptones. The Eptones were like the minor league team of music band where all the known artists got their musicians from, right? So from there, we became popular, and then I got more used to it, and I really wanted to do it. And then from there is where the Royal Jesters got hold of me.
David, now you're going from the minor leagues, as they say, to the major leagues.
Yeah.
You go with the Royal Jesters. Now, how did you feel when you first went on stage with the Royal Jesters in front of hundreds or thousands of people, dude?
It was the greatest moment of my life at that point.
Really?
That I've lived, It was fantastic. I mean, I played football and the stands were filled, but this was different. This was you and you're performing, right? And people are really having fun, yelling, dancing, and just looking at y'all, and man, that was the greatest moment of my life.
Now, with the Royal Jesters, you guys recorded a song called That Girl. Talk to me about that song.
Well, we recorded a bunch of songs. That was one of them in particular.
Sure.
And I was telling you earlier off the radio is that, I did so many that I forgot, and there's probably a lot more that I did. I could hear my voice purely, there. I don't remember the titles, but we were doing a lot of English at that time. The Royal Jesters, we did just strictly pop, I guess you would call it now, right?
All English.
All English, yeah. And that was I was in a lot of those recordings, yes. And that girl, Brown Eyed Girl, and then the Joe Jama tune by Chicago, Maybe by Chance.
There you go. There you go. Happy Man.
Happy Man. There you go. Soy Feliz in Spanish, right? Soy Feliz.
Soy Feliz.
Yeah, because he did it in both. So I mean, yeah, I have quite a career with them, man. You know.
Well, David, okay, now you got all this going on right now with the Royal Jesters, and then lo and behold, you go into the service.
Yeah.
What happened here, man?
Yeah, I'm sort of dating myself when I was saying this, but yeah, it was when there was a draft, right? So.
You get that letter in the mail, right?
Yeah, so...
how did you feel when you got this letter? Dude, oh, no!
Shocked, because I had played football and they tore my knee up, and they said, you know, you're not going to be able to go into anything, you know, to run for your life, you know. So I said, well, okay, so that was my belief, but no, Uncle Sam takes you anyway. So, and it looked pretty glum there. A friend of mine was going in the Navy, so I went in the Navy with him. And I really enjoyed my time in the Navy.
From what year to what year were you in the service, David?
Oh, do we have to give my... Let's just say it was 4 years, right? I saw all the Pacific. All the Pacific. I mean, the Orient. I saw Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, Korea, you name it. You know, I've been there.
Isn't that something on Uncle Sam's money, man?
Yeah, I was a sailor. I was.
There you go, man.
Paid for it.
There you go, man. Okay, so you were in the service for 4 years. You come back, and lo and behold, you're getting offers from other bands. Hey, David, come on, dude, let's do it, man. Come on, you're back. Welcome back, David. Let's do it. And you had offers, but hey, your heart was with the Royal Jesters.
Yeah, it's like I said before. I at first I didn't think the first offer I turned down was because I didn't think I was going to cut it. That was my major fear, you know. You don't want to come short on anything. So then, after I turned that one down, I think it was the following week, I got the second offer, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to turn this down. So, like I said, I think it was fate. I was fated to be with the Royal Jesters.
Sure.
Destined to be with the Royal Jesters.
Sure. Okay, now you're back with the Royal Jesters again, and you're feeling great again. Then you guys come up with a song called Yo Soy Chicano.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this, dude.
We were looking for a new, because we went into we started playing Spanish, right? Along with the English, too.
Right.
We mixed it. But, so we were looking for a new niche, something that would separate us from the Tejano thing that was existing already. So we all took songs, and that was one of the songs that caught Henry and Oscar's attention, and I said, hey, that song. So then we got to creating something, and it came out, Yo Soy Chicano, sí, señor, which at that time, the Chicano movement was a very prevalent thing. It was happening, you know. So.
Sure.
So, lo and behold, man, it was fate, I think.
Let me ask you something, David. Okay, the Royal Jesters, you guys are out there kicking ass, but there were some local bands here también that were in the mix. Did you guys ever play with like Sonny Ozuna, Monsanto, Little Joe, and other bands like this? Yeah,
we certainly did, yeah. We did, because at first we were in town, you know. We played out of town, but majority of the time we were in town, so we played with a lot of these groups. Sonny Ozuna was fantastic. I used to, when I first got into, you know, playing with bands, I would go listen to different groups, and I heard him, and I was knocked out by him. Professional show, big time show. I mean, he was, you know, dancing. The band was doing stuff, and it was professional, right?
Sure.
I saw Joe Bravo. Joe Bravo knocked me out because he was so soulful. I mean, he sang soulful, you know, so he really knocked me out. I saw a bunch of groups, you know, Junior Jesse, I saw Henry Peña, I saw a lot of groups, and Ruco Vidal, like I mentioned earlier. I learned from all of them. I was like a sponge at that time, you know, just trying to absorb as much as I could, and then get my own style, you know.
You know, and that's the beauty of it, dude, that you were willing to kick back, check out some of these bands, and learn from them. Learn from them and move forward. There's a lot of people out there, man, that they don't want to look, you know, around them, behind them, in front of them. They just want to look one way and one way only. They're not willing to learn. They just want to keep it the way they want to do it and nothing else. You were willing to kick back and look at everything, look at the big picture, and try to learn whatever you could and move forward with it.
Yeah, that's really what I wanted to do. That's the way I am, and the fellows that I was playing with, that's the way that they were too. We wanted to learn. So and to this very day, I mean, I still learn from people that play with me, and I hear them when they take solos, and I hear them how they play, and then I'm listening to them, and I ask them stuff, and you know, because I'm a musician, so I have to know what they're doing. So, because it also helps me when I'm singing it, it opens up a new avenue for me to a new approach to singing it, you know. So it's always a constant learning. And then I really wanted to get into this thing, so I really wanted to learn.
You know, David, I don't know how it was back in the day, but I can remember back, I'll call them the T-Town years, back in the 90s. Sometimes we'd have two bands performing in one night, and sometimes there'd be friction between the bands. Who starts first? Who's going to come on second? And, you know, all this stuff. Back in that day, dude, was there any friction like that with you guys? Sonny Ozuna, Little Joe, Monsanto, and, you know, a lot of these local bands. Was there any ever friction like that?
No, there wasn't. There was a thing called respect. And, you know, actually, they didn't really care who finished or who started, because, you know what, they're going to give you more money. They're going to what? You're going to get certain, you know, whatever. It was no, they'd say, you know, hey, you want to do this? No, go ahead, you do it. Or, well, if you want, no, then go ahead, it's all right, man, you know. And that's the way I am today. And you can ask my musician friends, Gary or Jay or Vince, I don't really, I say, man, you know what? The fans that I'm going to play for, the fans are my fans. And they're going to be happy to hear us no matter whether I'm first, second, last.
There you go. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Can we all just get along?
That's really basically what it is and should be.
Sure.
And it should be respect.
Right.
You know?
That's right. Tell you what, David, I said, let's go ahead and take a break. And I'm going to go and take a break and go into the song Yo Soy Chicano, okay?
Okay.
Cool. Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And I'm here with David Marez.
Mazacote. Un chico muy simpático que canta con amor, un canto que está rítmico y lleno de color. Yo siento en este canto el calor de la pasión que viene a librarme dentro de mi corazón. Que canto rico, que canto bueno, caliente y loco y regional. Yo soy chicano, sí señor, chicano soy, nada es mejor. Yo soy chicano, sí señor, chicano soy de corazón. Yo soy chicano, sí señor, chicano soy, nada es mejor. Yo soy chicano, sí señor, yo soy chicano. Arrin, kin, kin, kin. Que canto rico, que canto bueno, caliente y loco y regional. Yo soy chicano, sí señor, chicano soy, nada es mejor. Yo soy chicano, sí señor, chicano soy de corazón. Yo soy chicano, sí señor, chicano soy, nada es mejor. Yo soy chicano, sí señor, yo soy chicano, soy mexicano, también tejano.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. I'm back here with David Marez, and I'm telling you, David, that song, Yo Soy Chicano, the memories it brings back, dude. Wow, dude, I'm serious, dude. I mean, what a song, man. Jeez.
That was my first introduction back once again into playing and into recording again, you know, because I had been gone for a while there. So it was very, very, very exciting and memorable for me.
David, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I remember maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, something like that. Didn't they produce a video, The Royal Justice with Yo Soy Chicano? Do you remember anything like this?
No, I don't recall that. I really don't. I would have known something about that. No, I think there's been a lot of No, as far as I know, no. We did a remake with Bob Gallarza. He coaxed Oscar and Henry out of retirement to come do the thing.
Okay.
And it's, I think we were nominated for a Grammy with that one too, right? I'm speaking to my wife here. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, maybe it was a night when I had a 12-pack of Bud Light that I just kind of, wish they had made a video. I don't know. But anyways, I tell you what. Now, speaking of the Royal Jesters todavía, I'm going to go with an album. I know you told me earlier, I'm having a brain fart here. The album had la canción Ambición, Cariño Nuevo, and you actually, I gave you the name of one of those songs, and you kind of started singing it right away. Yo tengo un amorcito que me está. What an album, dude. Talk to me about this album, man.
That was a fantastic album. By that album, we were already full-blown Tejano sounding band, because I told you earlier, we were when we first started, we sounded a little bit English because that's all we played, right? So by that time, we were fully into the Tejano thing, and we were really, really on a high, I guess. We were really popular and stuff like that, and it was really an exciting time in our lives.
Now, moving forward, in 1977, give or take a year, you created a band called People, David Marez and People, which is really, man, they had some Tejano All-Stars, man. Richard Solis, Steve Velasquez, Pete Garza, Julian Carrillo. Talk to me, man, about People.
Yeah, People was a band that was created, and I was lucky to get the elite of the elite of the so-called players, at that time. And they were friends of mine. We were friends to begin with, right? I mean, we played in different bands, and we were friends, and we always figured that maybe one day we'd work together, and as it turned out to be correct. Our thinking, we got to work together, and as a result of that, we came in with our different ideas, and we were trying to create a different sound, a different band from what was around, which is, I guess, bands always try to do. You try to be unique, and that was our thing. That was our thing, then, and our thinking process, and I think we captured that.
David, when you created this event, but this band, and I won't even say you created, or maybe you did. Was it a mutual thing? Did they come to you? Did you go to them? Who put this thing together?
Yeah, actually, Manuel Guerra was the one that put the seed in us, to start something, right? For me to go solo, I didn't want to go solo, and I said, "Yeah, man, that sounds good, right?" And so then, when the timing was right, I went solo, and I started asking my friends, that I was going to start a band, and then what my idea was, and we all started knocking it around. And they all said, "Yeah, you know what? That sounds good. Let's do that." So we talked among ourselves, and we started the group.
Now, as the People, pretty much, although you don't see, David Marez and People on a lot of your CDs, albums, cassettes, 8-tracks, however you want to put it, People has always been part of David Marez, ¿verdad?
Up front and foremost. That's the name of the whole band, David Marez and People.
How unfortunate that, record executives or whatever, they come out with ideas about, no, you know what, let's just go with David Marez, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of People, not as the band itself, but on the CDs, to where it says David Marez and People. And let me ask you something, David, if you could take it all back and do it all over again, would you want to put David Marez and People on everything?
If I'd had the control of that, yeah, because, to be left out in the advertising when the other one's doing all the recording and all that stuff, that's really unfair. That was the thinking of the time, I think, that they always pushed just the main person, who was up front, and really that was the label's way of promoting, I guess, In their opinion, I think that they would say, well, musicians can always change, but you have to have the product there. So it was strictly, I guess, business move on their part. But to me and to my bands, I always made them know, hey, it's always David Marez and People.
And that's really awesome, man. If anything, it shows loyalty. Yes. You had loyalty to your band members,
man. Do.
And obviously, if you had loyalty, that means you had respect.
Yeah, I was very lucky and fortunate. Yes.
Okay, now in 1980, you came out with a self-titled album called David Marez, and then 1981 fue Nuestra Suerte, ¿verdad? And in 1986, you came out with The Voice Is Back, Revival, 1987, and the Monster CD. At the time, CDs were out, but también albums, cassettes was sold out. Talk to me about this project, man.
Sold Out was a fantastic, from the beginning, we didn't know it was going to turn out to be that way. Luis Silva gave me a lot of songs, and popular writer, and we were getting songs from great songwriters, right? And Manuel Guerra was at that time, he had gotten used to what it is, I guess my sound is, you know, and because he's a fantastic producer and a recording engineer. And the song started coming out, and, you know, I could see the excitement in their faces, you know, and Albert Esquivel, my agent at the time, was like giddy, and I was, you know, still, you know, getting into the songs and stuff. And lo and behold, it turned out to be one of the first in Tejano music. 9 out of the 10 songs were number ones all across the country in Tejano stations, which was at that time had never been done.
Now that's a David Marez fun fact for y'all, everybody. It's that I didn't even know as well. On the Sold Out, 9 out of the 10 cuts on the CD were number ones across the board, man. How unreal is that, David? You were on fire, no? I
was on fire, Billboard and everything. You know, I mean, it was fantastic. It was like I said, another one of my career. What do you call it? The most greatest thing that happened to my life. You know.
You know, David Marez shared a story with me, and I'm going to share a little bit with you quickly here. He was telling me that when he first, we're having some tacos here, and we were talking a little bit, and he was telling me that when he very got the idea of being a singer, that his dad told him, "Hey, you're going to be a bum." His dad told him, "You're going to be a bum." And I'm going to tell you something, man. If being a bum is having 9 out of 10 songs on your CD be number one, David, I want to be a bum too. Don't you think, man?
Yeah.
And after that, man, I promise you, your dad wasn't calling you a bum anymore, was he?
No, God bless my father. I love him so much. He was my biggest fan.
Sometimes, you know, when parents are hard on their kids, I think we see it as negativity on our side, but really it's more because they want us to do that much better, don't you think?
Better than them, yes. He was always after me and my brothers, you know, my sister, you know, to always do something better of ourselves, you know.
I'm going to corner you on this here. Now, on this, on the CD Sold Out, of course, 9 out of 10 songs are number ones. David, did you have a personal favorite on the CD?
Oh, you know, that's one of the questions that I really can't answer, because I love all my songs, you know, and I can't really point to one song as my favorite, because I'll say that, and then during the show I'll be singing the song, go, wow, that's a good song, I love that song, you know. So it's difficult for me to say.
I hear you, man. You know, when this CD came out, dude, it's how ironic it is, man. I remember it coming out, and I had just broken up with a girl. Or should I say, she broke up with me. And I won't call her this on the air right now. Sorry. Don't know how y todo.
No te enojes.
Don't heartbroken. Que dice David, brindemos, amigo.
There you go.
But really, you know, I remember being with this girl, and we broke up and stuff, and I remember I used to play the hell out of Y Todo Por Tu Amor. And I used to sing it in the car and be drinking a beer. Y Todo Por Tu Amor, Y Todo Por Tu Amor, Y Todo. But I got to tell you, man, another song that I was singing along to was Brindemos, Amigo.
Oh, thank you, man.
Wow, what a song. Give me a little background about Brindemos, Amigo.
Well, that was, if I'm not mistaken, you know, my cobwebs here in my brain cells, they might not work too well. But I think that was a Luis Silva song, and he had sang it to me, and it was, it's the ultimate party song, right? You know, it's a drinking song, right? And he said, you need a drinking song. And I said, well, yeah. And he started singing the words, Vendemos por ellas, you know, heartbreak, you know, so you're drinking. I said, well, you know what, yeah. You know, that does sound like, that is an everyday man's song. And that's been my thing through my career, that I like lyrics that are everyday happening to people's songs. So if you notice on my songs, the lyrics, I mean, I want to sing something that truly happens to a person living in the now life, you know what I mean? Living the life, that happens, and they'll sit back and go, whoa, that happened to me, you know? So that's why I like to record songs like that.
And David, you nailed it. I tell you what, let's go ahead and take another break, and let's go ahead and play Brindemos, Amigo. Robert Rivas Radio, here with David Marez.
Amor, hace algún tiempo también estuve muerto por dentro, sin compasión. Me abandonaron igual que a recuerdo, ya que más da, amigo mío. Brindemos por ellas, jamás volverán. Ya ves que las penas son como un puñal y que se clavan donde duele más. ¡Ay! Pa' que sepas. Uy. Me abandonaron igual que a ti, pero brindemos para olvidar que en cada copa que nos tomemos muere el recuerdo, ya que más da, amigo mío. Brindemos por ellas, jamás volverán. Ya ves que las penas son como un puñal y que se clavan donde duele más. ¡Ay!
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And I'm back here with Mr. David Marez, La Voz de Oro, right? Did I get that right?
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah.
That's
I've been pretty lucky to have a whole bunch of nicknames on there. El Galán, El Príncipe. La Voz de Oro seems to be the one that is stuck.
There you go. There you go. Now, David, like I said, I was doing some background on you, dude, and, many things that maybe it's because it's been so long, dude, but in 1987, you won a Tejano Music Award in the category of Song of the Year for Entre Más Lejos Me Vaya, from the album The Voice Is Back. Talk to me about this, man.
Fantastic songs, man. It was songs that Manuel had mentioned to me that we should do, and I wasn't too thrilled about it, honestly. Nobody knows about that but me and Manuel. And I said, no, I don't really, I like it, but it's not okay. And so then, another one of the biggest songs of my career, right? Entre Más Lejos Me Vaya. And now that I think about it, man, the lyrics are so true, no matter what decade or era you might want to say it's from. It is such a enlightening song, and I'm happy I did it. And I was thrilled to have won the award for that. I had been the TTMAs. I had been there since the inception of the TTMAs, and it was I won numerous awards and stuff. But it was thrilling. It's always thrilling to win, no matter what,
David, I've been criticized many times on this, and I'm okay with it because I like all kinds of music, dude. But on my radio show, last year I went to Las Vegas, and I showed up on a Sunday evening, and I made sure I got there Sunday evening because Barry Manilow was going to perform. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big Barry Manilow fan. His love songs to me are tremendous.
Yeah.
And I remember on one of his performances I went to go see, he was doing certain songs here and there, and then out of the clear blue he says, There's going to be punk rock, there's going to be rap, there's going to be hard rock. He goes, but at the end of the day, there's always room for a love song.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
That's true. That's so true. And I tend to like love songs myself. I don't know if the radio they really play a lot of the love songs, but I think they're part of what the fabric of what Tejano music is too. I mean, there's always drinking songs, there's always dancing songs, but then there's always somos románticos, right? We consider ourselves ladies' men, right? So,
that's right. That's right, man.
And what else than when you play for a lady when you're trying to romance her, but a slow song?
That's right.
You don't play no up-tempo song, and so...
I thought that was a bold statement, an excellent statement by Barry Manilow, saying there's always room for a love song.
Always is,
always. Anyways, 1989, you won the Tejano Music Awards. On the Sold Out album, you won the Male Vocalist of the Year, Album of the Year, and Song of the Year for Fíjate. Talk to me about Fíjate.
Great project. My friend David Lee got to play the accordion on that one, and that was the first time we'd worked together. And it was a song that I just thought, man, this song is fantastic, man. Bob Greer had gotten it for me from some writers from Mexico that he had from the house for songwriters, got together in Mexico City, and so he brought that song to me, and I said, "Wow, man, this is a great song." And then Manuel got a hold of it, and then we got into it, and we tweaked it, and then came out the way it came out.
1990, you win Male Vocalist of the Year at the TTMA Awards, and wow, and then El Musicano, 1990. Talk to me about that.
El Musicano, yes, I was in my different growing up stages of Onda Tejana. I wanted to have a different kind of vibe every time I recorded, which is still my thought process. Every time I put out a CD, I want to have a different view. I want my fans to have a different view of what I did the last time, go into something that, is prevalent in my life, what I'm living actually at that moment, so it was a new direction for me, and I really liked it.
David, you're doing something here that you probably never thought about, which I'm gonna go ahead and bring it to you here, bring it to your attention, is that you've been surviving decades being an artist, and that's really, really something to applaud. I mean, you're talking from the late 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and you're still here, brother. You're not going anywhere, brother.
No, I'm not going anywhere. I tell my family, I said, well, I'll probably trying to hit a high note, on the stage, which is a little bit morbid, thinking of talking about dying, but no, that's the way I...
But isn't that something, though? Have you ever thought about it that way? Have you ever said, wow, I mean,
No, it's like we were talking this night, I said, it seems like it was yesterday. So to me, in my mind, it seems like it was yesterday, but I guess if I do stop to think about it, and as you pointed out, yes, I have had the luxury of a career.
The beauty of that, man. Yes. And, David, also another thing that you have that's hard to find. You find it out there, but it's hard to accomplish. Is that to turn on the radio and listen to the voice and go, "That's David Marez." You know the voice automatically, and that's hard to do. If you're a singer, for somebody to be able to recognize your voice and separate it from a lot of other voices. True.
Yeah, that's very true, and that's flattering.
But it's the truth.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
It's the truth,
It is hard, and like you said, it is hard, and so that's what fans are, That's why I'm so happy, and I told when we play, I said, you know what? Thank you for taking your time to come out here and listen, let us entertain you, because you are fans, and that's without them we're nowhere.
You know what, David? Funny you say that, because every time on my morning show, I always let everybody know. I tell them, I know you have options. Thank you for making Robert Rivas Radio your option.
There you go.
Because you have to, because without the fans, man, you don't go anywhere.
I'll be singing in the shower.
Cases, I do already, but hey, man, it'd be only the shower then.
Yeah,
man.
I'll be limited to the shower. Next engagement tomorrow morning.
David, 1995, I think I got my year right. Selena Quintanilla was killed. What were you doing when you found out about this incident? Did it affect you in any way? How did you feel about it?
Well, I can't recall what exactly I was doing. I know I was playing some, but Selena, I'd known her since she was really smaller, because I knew her father from when we used to go play in Corpus, and he was actually playing with the Dinos. He was bass. So I had met her, and we used to play on the road, and we'd see her. But she was, 12, 13, something like that, And so, yes, I knew. And when I found out, I was like the majority of the people, we were shocked. And we were stunned, And automatically you think back of little, memories that you have, remembrances of the person that passed. So, yes, I thought about her, and I thought about when we played in Austin. I thought when we played in the Valley. And little things she would always tell me, and stuff. So... yes, I was sad. I was hurt that had happened, because I thought, nobody should have that happen to them, especially at that point in their lives. She was actually going somewhere.
Isn't it unreal how a person le puede dar tanta confianza? You can get so much. You can trust in somebody so much, and just be blinded, just be blindsided by something.
Well, yes, that is, and it does happen. It's not that hard to believe, because we sometimes we grow up musically and we don't grow up individually and we trust, because we're always told to trust people, to do this for us and do that for us. So it's not that hard to not believe, because it can happen. So yeah, it is a rough way of learning life.
David, one thing that you're talking about Selena, and I've asked that question to other artists as well during interviews, and they all fall back on when she was little.
Yeah.
They all, nobody talks about when she was, doing, but everybody always has that fond memory of her being little.
Yeah, she was just a little perky little kid, And, hi, David! And I mean, she was always, fun-loving and, just a gay little, young person, you know what I mean, man?
It's funny. I'm going to share a story here real quickly here. I was doing an interview with Tony Guerrero of La Sombra, and we were talking about Selena on the interview, and he was mentioning a time when they were playing with Selena, and Gavino was up on stage. They were doing sound check and stuff, and Selena got up on stage too, and he said he couldn't stop laughing because he said that Selena had more of a manly voice than Gavino did.
Oh yeah, Gavino had the real...
He goes, you would have thought Gavino had Selena's voice and Selena had Gavino's voice. He goes, what's going on here?
Yeah, those are good. Those are good little remembrances.
Oh man, David, what do you do in your spare time? What are your hobbies, man? What do you like doing on your time off, man? What do you play pool? Do you go watch the Spurs game? What do you do?
Well, I like sports. Yeah, I like watching sports. I like reading, and it depends on what it is. I do that day, but
do you play golf? Do you do anything?
Oh,
like that?
I love to play golf. I used to go a lot. I don't have that luxury anymore. Just your life, you got little things you have to take care of and stuff.
Sure.
So now it's when I'm not playing, I'm just worried about not worried, but I'm occupied with getting stuff ready for the following week where we're going to go play and all that, and getting music together and the shows and all that, which I still get excited about.
What is in the future for David Marez?
Hopefully a lot more recordings, which I'm going to be... I told you I had a meeting. I have to go select some songs for a new CD. I got another project this year that I hope to also get to. Maybe... my wife's been trying to talk me into doing some video work, so maybe we'll do that. Tour. I'm going to tour constantly, naturally as much as I can, and I've got some out-of-state tours that I'm working on, so I'm going to continue doing what I do, and that's taking my music to people everywhere that want to hear it.
There you go. Now, anything you want to say to your fans, you can say it directly right here, right now. People who've been following David Marez from the Royal Jesters, people, up to right now. Is there anything you want to say to them?
I want to say that I want to thank everybody that has been a fan and continues to be a fan of David Marez. I have felt like we've grown together, fan and artist, and that I will continue to do the music, hopefully, that y'all like to hear. And without you, my fans, I would have just been David Marez Jr., my father's bum.
There you go. I was talking to David earlier, man. We were eating, David and his wife here, and we were talking a little bit, and I told David, there was a song that when I used to be at T-Town, the owner of T-Town was, he was Anglo, he was Jewish, okay? He knew nothing about, he knew some Spanish lyrics, but very, very far and few. But he knew that I was always playing the song, Sácale pa' allá y sácale pa' acá. And he would be singing that song on the hallway, counting money or being in the front. That song just simply grew on him. Sácale pa' aquí, sácale pa' allá, y que toque el otro. David, talk to me about Sácale, sácale pa' acá, sácale pa' allá. Talk to me about the song, dude.
Yeah, it was a real moving piece when I got it, the lyrics. I get the lyrics first, and then I read the lyrics. I go, well, this sounds very interesting here, man. Me gusta cantar estilo Tejano, ranchero, whatever, or lo que sea, right? And then I heard that. I said, oh, yeah, that song, man, I'm going to like that song. And I really do like that song, Sácale pa' allá. And I think you see people dancing.
That's right.
And I used to see him, and I saw my dad dance, right? And my dad, le sacaba pa' acá, le sacaba pa' allá, so it was very aptly named,
David, I was trying to set you up here for the last song, but I'm going to have to backtrack here real quick, just because. Now, there's two songs I need to bring up here quickly here. The first song, Es Demasiado Tarde. Now, that was a big hit for you, man. Talk to me about this quickly.
Yes, that was a song that we were looking for a song to record, and I can't take credit for that one. My drummer, Richard Barron, at the time told me, hey, why don't we do this song, right? And I said, well, I never heard it. So I listened to it, and I said, wow, that's a good song. So then we ran with it, right? So let's do it. So we did it, and the rest is history.
It was awesome. I used to play the hell out of it at T-Town, and I know all the radio stations across the nation were playing it as well. Now, the second song that I just simply blew me away, man, an awesome version of it. And I'm very, very, dude, I'm a person to where I don't like nobody messing around with original songs.
Yeah,
remix.
Yeah.
I'm like that, dude. You know, it's gotta be something really good for me to embrace it or like it. And you did it, man, with So Very Hard to Go. How did you come up? Where did this idea come from, dude?
Yeah, that was just something that we wanted to do. So I think it was Bob Garza that said, "Hey, man, you can do this, man," you know. And then I said, "Yeah, I know the song." I said, because it's the same way I felt about It's Demasiado Tarde. I don't like to mess with anybody because then, if I do something, I want to make it mine. So he said, "Well, make it yours, man," you know, and keep the soul of it together, but make it yours. So that's what we did, and otherwise I wouldn't have done it, right? But it was a great song. I like Tower Power as it is anyway.
Oh, yes. Now, David, refresh my memory here. Have you ever cut a Christmas song?
No.
Wow, that's unreal, dude. I tell people, dude, I've worked with bands, singers, and I've always told people, at least one Christmas song and do it your way, because you never know if the way you do that Christmas song is going to change the way people listen to Christmas music. Talk, David, should I get after you now or later, dude?
Yeah. Who's been after me all this time. But it's just never happened. And it's so odd that of all this time, I've never really done one. I mean, it's something that you say, wow, it's odd, I've never done one. And I haven't, and maybe it's time I should.
And if, worst comes to worst, if not even a cover song, a cover Christmas song, write one up on your own, dude. Just, you never know when that song, you're going to affect Christmases around the world with that one song, dude. You know what,
that's a good, it's a thought process that's been put into my head now for a while. So, yeah, you know what, I should deal with that.
I can't tell you how many bands I've worked with, and I've worked with many, many bands, David, and I always ask them that question. You have any Christmas music? No, I've never understood. I mean, at least one, man, because, worst comes to worst, because these radio stations, and I'll say radio stations, around November, right after Thanksgiving, you can't even touch them with any music, because they're taking out music and they're putting in Christmas music, and you can say, well, you know what? I have a Christmas song. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I know that I should do one, and I probably will. I just haven't had the opportunity to be in the studio, but I think I'm going to have to address that, because I do like Christmas, right? Who doesn't like Christmas, right?
¿Qué dice David? Chinga, Robert, ya quedo todo regañado yo, Robert. Ya me regañaste aquí, Robert.
I hope we don't end the interview on that note, because
I know, right?
I'm lacking on that end of it.
Right? David Marez, bah humbug, screw Christmas.
Okay, Robert Scrooge.
Robert Scrooge. He said, David, don't send me no tamales this year, Robert. I don't want to get no eggnog or tamales from you, Robert. No. I got to tell you, man, no, it's all in fun, man. But these are things that is really, really interesting stuff. And like I said, it happens, man. Sometimes you can be so busy trying to cover all your angles here, man, that you forget one. Because, hey, man, it happens, right?
Yeah, it just happens. I've never really actually done it. So
yeah, I hear you. He said, David, let's move on, Robert. Let's move on. David, I really, man, it's been a pleasure having you on Robert Rivas Radio. I've had many, many people asking me about you, saying, hey, man, do something with David Marez, man. You got to put David Marez on an interview. And I said, okay, let me see how I can do it. And I see your wife, Ida, on Facebook sometimes, and I go, you know what, I got to send her a message and tell her, hey, man, let's get an interview with David Marez. And I'd like to thank Ida, his wife, for putting this together. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. And she enjoyed her pork chop taco. Yeah? I've never seen anybody eat a pork chop taco, man. Con hueso y todo.
She was gnawing on that bone.
And I was going to take that bone to my gato. I said, there you go, Mr. No, I didn't lo echó todo.
So what am I going to do with this bone?
I'm going to get my money's worth, man. Vámonos. David, we're going to go ahead and close out with one of the songs that you pick. I'll let you pick it. Sácale pa' acá y sácale pa' allá, okay?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, brother.
Awesome.
You so
David
much.
Marez on Robert Rivas Radio.
Estilo ranchero, mi amor. Sácale pa' allá y sácale pa' acá y sácale al taconazo el sabor. Contigo me encanta bailar, norteñas o las que sean, porque en tus brazos me siento muy feliz y más feliz soy yo. y más feliz soy yo cuando me aprietas. Por eso sácale pa' allá y sácale pa' acá y sácale sabor al bailazo. Y apriétame mi amor la cintura más y más con tus manos que me vuelven loco. Por eso sácale pa' allá y sácale pa' acá y sácale sabor al bailazo. Y apriétame mi amor la cintura más y más con tus manos que me vuelves loco. Sácale pa' allá y sácale pa' acá y sácale sabor al bailazo. Y apriétame mi amor la cintura más y más con tus manos que me vuelven loco. Por eso sácale pa' allá y sácale pa' acá y sácale sabor al bailazo. Y apriétame mi amor la cintura más y más con tus manos que me vuelves loco. Contigo me encanta bailar, norteñas o las que sean, porque en tus brazos me siento muy feliz. Y más feliz soy yo, y más feliz soy yo cuando me aprietas. Por eso sácale pa' allá y sácale pa' acá al estilo ranchero mi amor. Sácale pa' allá y sácale pa' acá y sácale al taconazo el sabor.